T Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Vegas.
Yes.
You're coming to Vegas, right?
Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent up here's wearing a vest.
Joe Lontroop, welcome to another G&T show, What's Your Story? To my left, this is Gettysburg 7. To my left, your right, wearing her Apollo Creed boxing going to the ring gear with the big red Uncle Sam hat, it's Terry Lynn. And our special guest for this one is, call me Kate.
Hi. Kate Bankson is actually a staff content designer with Cryptic Studios, and we're glad to have you back. But we're also glad to be here talking to you about our personal Trek project. And so what's your story?
You asked me about that.
Yeah.
When we did the girl interview. That was awesome.
And that's what we're going to be doing today, is really talking about how you became a Star Trek fan, why you're here, how you're having fun, how it integrates with, not just work, but how your fun integrates with this. How has it all come out to you? In other words, how's your Star Trek Con experience going?
Okay. So far, so good. This is the second time at the Star Trek Las Vegas Con. It's super fun because all the people I met last year, many of them are here this year. So it was really cool getting to see those people again. And
you find your circle of acquaintances growing.
Yeah, there were some people I'd gone to the Women in Sci-Fi panel last year, and I ended up talking with a couple of the girls on that this year. I'm now Facebook friends with one of them, and
Excellent.
She's totally awesome. So, and meeting new people, it's totally great. It's fantastic.
Now, are you a people person, or are you more introverted?
I'm more on the introverted side. I'm pretty sure that when I go home, I'm going to just sleep for as long as I possibly can, and then go into the office and shut my cubicle and be I'm just gonna work. Don't talk to me.
But do you find that at the convention here, where we all share the same passions, it's much easier to come out of the shell?
It's very friendly. It's very friendly. So that's more encouraging. It is more. I just get tired. So at the end of the day, I'm just bleh, I'm dead. So I need to just sleep and not talk to people, and then I'm good.
Oh, we understand that. What's the rule? Extroverts get their energy from people, and introverts spend their energy on people? Yes.
You're using mana points.
Yeah.
In the games, you're burning your mana points.
Yeah, it's a slow burning dot the entire weekend. There you
go. We talked briefly on the Women from Stowe show, but I want to really focus on you and your personal story. How did you first get involved in not just Star Trek Online, but what was your first exposure to Star Trek?
So my first exposure to Star Trek was when I was a wee little one. I was probably 4, 5, something like that, and it was on daytime television. And it was the original series, and it was super fun because it was this kind of campy adventure show. It was like a buddy adventure show, and it was starring Kirk and Spock. I really loved Uhura because she was the girl, and you gotta root for the girl, and she was the person that I could connect with because she was the chick. So I loved when she was on the show. She was great, and I, some of the humor absolutely went above my head, but they had some of the stuff that was a little bit more slapstick, a little bit more lowbrow, and so I got that as a little kid. So that was fun. I didn't know what it was. It was just this fun kind of campy adventure show that I experienced when it was on TV, and as a little kid, and then years later, I was about 4th or 5th grade. I caught Next Generation, and they were, I think, in their second season at that point.
So it was first run.
It was first run. it was first on, because I remember I had just gotten into it, and then I heard that Gene Roddenberry had died, because that was all over the news. And I was like, no, I just got into this awesome show. It was like, the thing I had been missing was basically sci-fi. Because, you get exposed to fantasy of all kinds and stuff when you're a little kid. Like, I love the heck out of My Little Pony, man. That was great. I also love Transformers. I was one of those strange girls that played with both. So... I got into Next Generation, and I was all about, rooting for Troy and rooting for Tasha and rooting for Beverly, because they were the girls. They were like, yeah!
Yep.
And, Picard was cool. Data was kind of interesting, because he was this android. That was neat. And everybody else was kind of like, whatever, they're there and stuff. I was like, meh, whatever, take them, leave them. But, that's kind of how I got into it. It was kind of this, revelation, oh my god, where has this been all my life? I didn't know this existed. This is so much fun!
So... being a young woman at the time.
Yes.
When, oh God.
I know.
Go ahead. Her name.
Troy? Crusher?
No.
Tasha?
No. The Ashley Judd character.
Oh,
from the game. Ensign Leffler was on. She in the game. Her and Wesley Crusher were.
Oh yeah, I liked Wesley too. I was a Wesley fan because he was the young person,
right?
And he was totally awesome. And now I adore Will Wheaton. He's the coolest guy. But I was surprised when I eventually got on the internet and found that everybody else hated Wesley. I was like,
shut up,
why?
Wesley.
I was like, he was cool, man. He was the awesome kid who got to do the cool stuff that I wanted to do. So
and that's the audience they were looking for with him.
They got me on that one, and I don't know, maybe the people who didn't like him were just jealous that he was the kid who got to hang out with all these awesome people and fly a starship. I mean, I think
the thing that people got, it was all the Wesley Saves the Ship episodes.
See, I saw things very out of order because it was kind of like catch as catch can, kind of like, and whenever it was on TV, I didn't really have control of the TV. That changed later with Voyager, I didn't notice that part. Of the silly things that they did, that wasn't a thing that affected me. It was like, oh, cool, it's a Wesley episode. I like him. He's great. I mean, I don't really think that I would be happy if I was wearing the sweaters he was wearing, but it's the future. Maybe.
Although, did you happen to see the woman who was in the?
I did. Yes.
She worked at the Axmar booth.
Yeah.
For those who are listening, there was a woman here yesterday in a most unusually beautiful Wesley costume, and it was a gray dress with the three. It was red, yellow, and green or whatever the stripes were of that damn sweater he used to wear, and it was adorable.
And she had bright neon pink hair.
Yeah,
it was very cute.
It was fantastic.
So, after TNG, where did it go from there?
Babylon 5. I did not get into DS9. I didn't actually see all of DS9 until I got moved from Champions down to Star Trek.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't really have much interest in DS9. I picked up B5, and it was kind of like, you can only have one space station show, and it was a little bit like, I kind of eye-rolly, they'd chop the thing around, and then Paramount said no, and then oh, well, we're going to develop this thing instead, haha. But I don't know, whatever. I don't know how much it is.
It's okay to be a B5 fan, sweetheart.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was totally great. That was my first exposure to TV that was not episodic, because TNG was very much monster of the week, problem of the week, social issue of the week,
solved by the end of the 50 or 42nd minute, right?
And so having this arc was a new thing for me, because I was young enough that I hadn't seen that kind of TV before, because little kid stuff is very, very short and episodic, and movies are done in 2 hours, so I had nothing to compare it to, so that was mind-blowing. But I really enjoyed the story and the soap opera and the lore, and it's actually been very influential on my own writing, I've discovered. But so that was that. But this show called Voyager was coming, and they were going to have a female captain, and I was so excited, oh my gosh. And at this point I discovered my aunt was a Trekkie. I didn't know that. My grandmother, her mother, did not like sci-fi. Did not like sci-fi at all. It was just something she didn't care for. I'm not entirely certain why. I'm pretty sure that I would have been able to get her to like Doctor Who. I'm pretty sure that would have been her speed. She would have enjoyed that. We would have had to be like, not tell her it was sci-fi. We would have had to tell her it was a fantasy drama, and it would have been fine. But she had a very, very knee-jerk reaction to sci-fi. So I discovered my aunt was a Trekkie, and like that was awesome. So we were like super excited about this thing called Voyager that was coming out, and like, you know, like, oh, there's finally a female captain. That's so amazing. It's gonna be great. And so Voyager came on, and I watched the heck out of that show. I was old enough. I had a choir practice every Monday, and so I had to tape it, and so I had to like learn like how to use my, you know,
Your VCR.
Yeah, when I was little, I knew how to use it, and then they like did technology to it, and so we got like, you know, the special codes that you could program in, and so I had to get the TV guide, had to find the current TV guide, had to find it. Sometimes they didn't list it. It was I hated when they didn't list it because it was so easy to punch the stupid code in. So then I had to like actually use time codes to do it, and oh god, it didn't always, like, you know, sometimes
Her introduction to programming and code. Yes,
it pretty much was. And sometimes, you know, they would cut, you know, the first minute or the last minute off. It was killing me even the last minute off. But like, heaven forbid if you tried, like, you know, were my siblings trying to use the VCR Monday nights when I was at choir practice and Voyager was on, because oh man, there was hell to pay. That, and so yeah, that and B5, because on like Saturdays and stuff they were like back to back, and for a while they were back to back on Mondays. They moved things around. That was a problem with UPN.
Right.
But I like never missed it. Voyager was actually my intro to B5, because it was on afterwards.
I see.
And so like, because I was just like, meh, whatever, DS9, and then I got into B5, and it was like, oh, I can't go DS9.
That's funny.
Whatever. So watched Voyager. It was 7 seasons of chasing the perfect season. But I like the characters. I really love the characters. Huge fan of B'Elanna and Janeway. And I came to love 7, mostly on the second rewatch. There was a lot of obvious kind of like fan service that they made her do, and but she's a really interesting character, and watching it, you know, with a slightly older mindset, having seen it before, having kind of accepted, okay, they put her in her cat suit because we needed to sexify it because it was UPN. Like, no, it's a really good performance, and Jerry's amazing, and I really enjoyed the character. So it was great.
My favorite things in all of Trek is the little verbal tick she has.
Yeah.
Naomi Wildman.
Yes.
The only name she ever does that with.
Yeah.
Very cute. Well, now, how have you been able to take... Now, you were with Champions before you went... Oh, go ahead.
No.
Did all of this, Star Trek and Babylon 5 and all that, have an influence on what you would decide to do as a career?
Yes. I love movies. My intro story of why I am here is actually it goes back to Batman Returns. I saw that movie. It blew my mind. I wanted to know everything about how they did special effects.
For those that is the second Tim Burton movie, the one with the penguin.
Yes. And Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman, who was awesome. I was, oh my god, she's so cool with Catwoman. You might notice there's a theme of like attaching to the strong female characters and a thing, you know, enjoying those guys.
Yep.
So it was actually, I wanted to know everything about how this thing had been made. How, like, you know, all the production design stuff, like all the special effects, all, like, you know, the miniature filming that they did, all that stuff. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into, like, I wanted to do that stuff, but it was very much like, oh, it's a pipe dream, whatever. And so, like, that was cool, but, like, I always read, you know, when I got into started watching Star Trek and started watching, you know, B5, and when I eventually discovered Star Wars, I didn't discover Star Wars until I was in 7th grade, guys. I wanted to know how it was done, because it was awesome, and it was, how did you tell this story, and how did you get here, and it was really, really awesome. And I got The Matrix was the next kind of mind-blowing, oh my god thing. Super, super into the technical side of that, but also the psychology, the cognitive science, the artificial intelligence kind of thing. And so since I figured out that I was a really poor programmer, I couldn't do that. I didn't think that I could make money or have a living as an artist, so that was kind of out. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just kind of go in this awesome other direction, which was, you know, cognitive science, psychology, you know, brain cognitive modeling, making artificial intelligence kind of stuff. And I discovered I didn't really like that. but I was taking a lot of human-computer interaction classes.
Interesting.
And one of the classes I wanted to take, I went to Carnegie Mellon University. One of the classes I absolutely wanted to take when I got there was called Building Virtual Worlds, with Professor Randy Pausch, who did the last lecture, which you may or may not have heard of.
Yes.
He was super awesome, and I got into his class. It was half grad students, half undergrad students.
Wow.
And I applied as an artist and did like lots of texture stuff, learned how to do, mapping on 3D models. But it was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. And he had a BVW2 class, and we worked with one of his PhD candidates, and we worked on Alice, and we built kits for Alice, and that was super fun. And then I got into Jesse Schell's game design class because I had been working with Randy, and that was also a graduate level class, but they allow undergrads if people are okay with it, so they let me in, and that was super cool. And then I applied to the Entertainment Technology Center and the ETC, and I got in. And so it was because it was like, well, what do you do with a BS in cognitive science? It's like, well, you go to grad school is what you do. So so I had this background in cog sci and a whole lot of HCI experience and some game design stuff and usability and interactions and stuff and storytelling. And so I went to the ETC, and so it was really cool because it was like, this is the future. This is the nifty stuff. One of the aspects of Trek I always found interesting was the holodeck. And
yes.
I've always thought, whenever they had a holodeck episode, what would I do with a holodeck? And then there's like the, lulz, haha, we say no more answer. But no, I would totally do awesome stuff like, all right, here's the Pelennor Fields. We're going to go and like strap on armor and like go fight, the dark forces. Like that level of stuff is what I want to do. Like I'm going to go, program a thing where I'm going to fly on a dragon and we're going to go like blast fire out of stuff. I mean, that's going to be awesome, man. Like, I want to be a starfighter pilot. Like,
the ultimate MMO.
Oh God, seriously. So
and she goes that way, and I think I would like program it in to see like the Battle of Gettysburg unfold as
sure,
like I'm there
cool.
just watching it unfold and all of that, or the D-Day landing, something like that.
It's interesting when I learned what LARP was, which was a college thing, and I went back and I looked at the holodeck, and the episodes because Voyager was wrapping up at that point. I'm like, they're LARPing.
Yes.
And there's this
all it is.
There's this scene where they go back in time, and Tom Paris has that kind of love affair with name I'm forgetting that comedian, and they're at Griffith Observatory in LA.
Oh, yeah,
Sarah Silverman.
Yes, thank you. I'm totally blanking on her name.
No, ask a guy, he'll know.
Yeah. So they're watching TV. So Kessa and Neelix are watching TV, and they're like, it's really strange. You don't interact with the story, you watch it. And like I was like, oh, that's interesting. And but yeah, it's holodecking is totally LARPing. Yeah,
that's
really
exactly
is.
what it is.
Well, that's what Miles and Julian did.
Yeah, they were like totally SCA guys. Basically.
Well, like
Alamo
Kira and Dax did
Kira
too.
and Dax did too.
And like that's totally really cool. It's like, oh, that's neat. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the whole Kira and Dax thing when they were wearing the Renaissance costumes and the comments they were having about what he was doing, laughed my ass.
Yeah.
Just a quick sweat. One of the things I loved was we never got to see Miles and Julian doing their stupid adventures. It was always the aftermath.
I like that.
That was hilarious.
It was a perfect writing tool.
That actually one of my questions I've always had with sci-fi is, what does your speculative fiction look like when you live 300 years in the future, 400 years in the future? That's one thing they've never addressed. And I had friends like, well, nobody cares because you're already living in the future, and that's what I'm watching it for. And I'm like,
but it's their present.
Yeah, it's their present, and I'm kind of in it for the world building. I really enjoy that aspect of sci-fi because, like, if you can take me to another world and like sell me all the parts of it, and like I want to go and find out more. I mean, and so I was like, oh, what is it like? And partially they show all the older stuff because everybody knows.
You got to see a little of it with Photons Be Free.
A little bit. That was I don't know, that was more of a social commentary kind of thing from what I understood about it. But it's
So after you graduated, did you work for Cryptic right away, or who did you?
I worked for Cheyenne Mountain on the Stargate MMO that did not come out. So that was my first job out of college. And I was so sad. Like, so I like all the Star shows, like Stargate. Like, I was super, super, super fan of Stargate. So I was like thrilled beyond belief to go work on this game. Oh my gosh, man, I'm so sad that just did not happen because, man, I wanted to play that game. Yeah, but stuff happens. So they had troubles, as you may or may not be aware, and so I ended up. I was one of the earlier people to no longer be employed there, and so I applied a number of places, and I got into. I ended up at a Cryptic, and Champions was ramping up at that point. They had just gotten the Star Trek license, so that was super exciting. But they wanted me on Champions. I was like, okay, cool. I like superheroes because I love City of Heroes, man. I that was my gateway MMO, City of. Okay. Yeah, because you could fly, and oh man, I got a cape back when it was like super bugged and horrible, and oh man, I wanted that thing so badly.
Capes.
No capes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. So I worked at Champions for 4 years, and then I've been on Champions for 4 years, and then they decided to move production of that up to Cryptic North, and redistribute the Champions team to Neverwinter and Stowe. And so I had actually told, I was actually wanting to move. I was like, I've been doing superheroes for this long, I want to move on to something else. And would there be room on the Star Trek team? Because I really want to do Star Trek, because that would be awesome. And because I love the property so much. And so they're like, hang on, hang on a little bit. And so like a week later they announced that this was happening, and I was like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah. And Scott Schickoff, who was the lead at the time, pulled me aside. He's like, so we'd really like you to come down and work on Star Trek, is that okay? I was like, yeah, that's okay, that's totally awesome. And I show up and get settled in, move my desk downstairs with everybody else. Everybody's super awesome and helpful, and they're like, here, would you like to do Kittimer? And I'm like, oh, that's gonna be the point where you choose. Oh, so yeah, super happy. Yeah. So
well, for our listeners who don't know what she's talking about on Kittimer, it's probably one of the most. We all know it's one of the best featured episodes we've got in the game, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's the point where you're in the Romulan story arc, and until this point you're just a Romulan, and then from there on it's kind of like, all right, who am I going to go party with to try and forward the Romulan cause, the Klingons or the Federation?
Unless you have a disco ball.
Oh no, this is the one before that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not Armistice. It's the one when you're like level 10.
Yeah, it's level 10.
And so that was your very first project. That
was awesome. My artist Peter came down with me from Champions, and so he was super happy because he had been doing just urban stuff for forever, and so he was like, this is amazing. He's like, I love Klingon stuff. It's just like 40K. It's great. It's got all these spikes, and it's red, and it's gnarly, and we're like, yeah. And we're like, what can we do? He's like, can I add more spikes to it? I'm like, yeah, go for it, man. He's like, let's have flames. I was like, yeah. He's like, let's have like a bar with like, blood wine. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do that. And so that was really cool. So we just kind of like, we were so excited. We like built the white box, but it looked like kind of amazing actually. And so we show up to like our pitch. We're like, this is what we want to do. And they're like, wow. Oh, okay. Wow, this is really good. You just needed to have like literal white boxes, and we're like, oh, is this bad? They're like, no, this is amazing. Go. No, that's fine. You're fine. We're like, but we were just really excited because it was something new and shiny. So yeah,
that's awesome. Now, some big news came out yesterday.
Yeah, so I can talk about some of that.
Well, we've already been told that there are many things you won't be able to talk about. Yeah. But yesterday was a big a big day for Star Trek Online with the announcement of the next expansion, Delta Rising.
Yeah.
Which Nick is now wearing the T-shirt for. And big expansion. Big expansion.
Bigger than Romulus, which was huge.
Yeah, we're raising the level cap, and we're adding another tier of ships, and we are heading into the southern half of the Delta Quadrant. And it's going to be amazing, guys. It is serious. Like, I wish I could tell you right now all the stuff that we have, but I can't. But yeah, the blog's coming out super soon. I got an email on Friday, like, if you are on this email list, you have a blog come out, please, write that now so marketing and Christine can go through it and make sure all your typos are corrected and all your information's good and stuff. So I've got at least one on that one.
So, and what's really amazing to me is that that's coming out in October. You guys are pushing for an October release.
Yeah, we've been working on it for months already. I finished working on Service Tension and rolled onto this stuff, and so we're like we are super, super far ahead of where everything is. So it's a little bit weird because it's like, oh, I don't like playing the main game because it's like, I'm working on all the cool new stuff and I have all the new things. And it was a little bit like when ESD came out, I would log in to like
the new ESD.
Oh my god, isn't it amazing? Logged on to my main and I'm like, I'm gonna go do some stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's old ESD. Womp womp. So yeah.
And so if it's coming out in October, that was just like probably 2.5 months faster than any of us really anticipated. I think most of us were expecting a December release.
We've been working on the Delta Rising content for a while now, and we were very quiet about it because we had the 9.5 release with crafting and stuff. So we've been putting a lot of stuff in the can so that we can work ahead to get this giant chunk of content out. And I'm pretty sure by the time you guys get it, we're already going to be working on. Well, the plan is that we're going to be working on the stuff that comes afterwards.
Wonderful.
And so I mean, there's going to be a couple people that are fixing bugs, keeping things, making sure things are running, but the team is going to finish up and roll on to the next thing.
Well, that's really good news for many, many Stow players who are now looking forward to another content push.
Yeah. Twitter was exploding.
It was.
Oh, good.
It was during the announcement. So
I was tweeting, she was tweeting, Janice was tweeting.
I was sitting next to some of the podcasters.
Yeah,
and,
I was next.
Yeah. And I think you were at the end of the row. Yeah. And so like
Cookie was so bent over her computer.
Yeah, she was like bent over her computer. She's like, oh my goodness, am I spelling his name right? Oh my goodness. and I helped her, fix some of her lettering because she was typing so fast. She was, like and so they're like, wait, what? With the level cap and the new tier of ships, and I was just like, boom, and they're like, oh my god!
And then the announcement of Captain Harry Kim of the USS Rhode Island.
Yep. We're super, super, super excited. I love it when we get to work with the actors. I'm very lucky that I got to work with Michael Dorn.
Oh, you did?
Kind of indirectly. I wasn't there. Christine was the one who was in the directing booth, but I got to write stuff, and he said it. It was cool. And then I wrote stuff for Tim Russ, and he said it, and it was awesome. And
Tim Russ, that Tuvok.
Oh my gosh!
I felt like I was home.
I know, right?
He just is so smooth with the transition into Tuvok.
Wait until you see Voyager. It's like I'm like, I've arrived.
Chills.
Oh my gosh! Oh man,
she's so excited. Everybody, you should see her.
I can't even tell you.
She's
how
got
much.
goosebumps.
Yeah, I can't even tell you
really
how excited. It was so cool.
Well, the concept art that we saw in the panel was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We're very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And in a general aspect, can you tell everybody what your favorite aspect of working on the new Delta Rising expansion was? I'm assuming you've been working on missions and episodes
and stuff. I've been working on stuff. Oh gosh, it is.
I mean, in a general aspect, can you say there
Voyager was my show.
Right.
It was the one that I watched from beginning to end. It was the one that I got excited about. It was the one that I was invested in. It was, the one that I would go on forums and talk with other fans about. It was my show. And I have a lot of nostalgia and a lot of happy place kind of things. I have a good friend, like TNG is her show, and I understand because Voyager is my show.
Right.
So it's really, really awesome to get to go to the Delta Quadrant and get to interact with Tuvok and get to interact with Harry, and it's so cool and walk on Voyager and so it is very much like coming home. It's super, super awesome. So I'm really excited that we're getting to go to the Delta Quadrant and see what's up there.
Now, when guys like Garrett or Tim Russ come in, how stoked are they excited that their characters are living on through this game?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
I know Denise Crosby was.
Oh gosh, yeah, she was so much fun and so excited, and it was wonderful working with her.
She was giving you guys ideas.
Oh
right?
My gosh, yeah, it was just like, and how about this, and how about this? We're like, okay, huh? I didn't think about that, or maybe, and some of this stuff is
she wants Scylla to live on forever.
Yeah, she does. She's super awesome. But I think they are, because it is this character that the fans get so excited about and love, and often that is their first introduction to them as an artist, as an actor. I don't want to put words in their mouths or anything like that, but it seems like they're super excited to get to do that role, and they know that role, and because it's a video game, we're not constrained by production budgets, or like Michael Dorn didn't have to put on his full makeup again when he did Worf. Tuvok didn't have to put on the ear. Tim Russ didn't have to put on the ears. So in a way, it's a little bit easier, and you get to do really awesome, cool stuff. And so that's neat.
Well, we can't say we're kind of running out of time.
Sure.
But we are very, very excited for you. Congratulations on the announcement of Delta Rising.
Yeah,
Congratulations on a wonderful career and continued good wishes that you continue that.
You always
thank you
have
very
an
much.
door on our show.
That's exactly right.
Thank
Come
you.
play. We love you.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so much fun. It was so great to see you guys here at the con.
And fine, Caspian, are you in a fleet?
I am in the dev fleet. On my normal account, we're in a fleet. Shh, it's a secret. No. Everybody probably, most people know that most of the devs, I mean, some of us, we play with our friends.
Right.
And so, like, I have half my characters are with my guildies that they've been my friends for like 15 years at this point.
Right.
So I hang out with those guys. And then I have, my 1-2 main characters. We have, like, our regular fleet so that we have, like, the normal user playing experience. And then I have my dev account, which has all the bells and whistles, and I can talk in purple and, do things that I'm not allowed to do.
Right.
Yeah, I can, like, summon monsters and stuff, and I'm not allowed to do that because that's very, very bad. So we're not allowed to do that, but yeah.
Well, look for Caspian Rising when you're on.
Yeah, we'll probably be the ones.
We're the best dressed fleet in the damn game.
Thanks again, Kate Bankson, and we hope that everything goes very well, and we wish you no bugs.
Thank you very much.
Joe Lontrube.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
G&T Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Some dude walks out, proceeds to explain what it's all about. I sure want to leave. I think you'd agree, but we cannot leave till we find out what it's all about. It's all make-believe, nothing is permanent down here. It's just an amusement park. Bones is now alive, so it's okay for him to say, I'm a doctor, not a shish kebab. Apparently it's okay if we trust an unknown race who can read any one of our thoughts. So be careful what you wish for in this land of dreams come true, 'cause you just might get what you want.